What's an IRL version of a level 1 bad guy? A TNT customer support edit. Verizon is at least level 3. Spectrum is level 99. They nerfed Spectrum super hard. Now you will get matched with a real person by just staying on the line and not saying anything. If you start punching 0 a bunch of times as soon as the automated message starts, you'll get transferred to a real person. I know this because I had to call them every day for 2 weeks straight come fix the shitty wiring job they did on my internet. Workplace lunch thief. Once you catch the thief they won't put up a fight. I was hungry, you were a coward. More like you were hungry. Now you're fired. F those people. Solicitors in front of Walmart. In the UK we call lawyers solicitors. I imagined gangs of poorly suited shysters heckling you about your recent injury at work on your way into Walmart. Exactly the same image I had, and I just thought Walmart. Ambulance chasing hacks. Sounds about right, America. A fly that won't stop bugging you. Fruit flies are the worst. So small you can't catch them, but you can still clearly hear them. Try sewer flies. My whole neighborhood gets them every summer. They crawl up out of the drain pipes and swarm in your house. It's just disgusting. I had a bunch of drama in flies in my kitchen sink a couple years ago. The metal ass home solution I learned to get rid of them was to dump a bunch of ice in the sink and turn on the garbage disposal silo. The shrapnel from the ice murders them all and destroys their nests. I hope you yelled, "Winter is coming, pitches." A curb that's 1 inch higher than you expected, so you do that little mini stumble thing. Or that's an inch lower and you start to trip forward like a dingus. The word dingus makes my butthole tickle every time. My butthole wasn't affected. It's weird how things affect people's buttholes differently. People who don't dim their high beams while following someone on the highway at night, their attacks are extremely weak, but they'll kill someone eventually. Edit. Typos are also level 1 bad guys. This is gonna be who I ducking snap on. I'm not even Thanos and I wanna snap on these Methodikas. Generic ants. Not bullet ants or anything, just ants. You know ants are hardcore when they're given titles. Bullet ants are some scary Methodikas. Bullet ants are just recycled level 1 bad guys to fit at level 36 because the designers were lazy. Same enemy graphics with a palette change. Kids from rough neighborhoods that try and rob you. BTW. By kids I mean like 13. So someone you could easily punt across the fucking moon. Unless you're in Brazil. City of God ducked me up good. Dude, 3 bare feet kids on stupid small bikes can duck your shit up in Brazil and most SAR countries. Well, if they are serious and have knives or shady weapons. Source, fort ducking kids on bikes. The alcoholic threatening to beat you up while not being able to stay on their feet and always swinging to the left right of you because he's seeing you in doubles. The equivalent of a regular zombie in Dead Island. That's one of those weird gimmicky enemies that's normally super weak but has a 1 in 1000 chance to one-shot you. Dark Souls first enemies, torch hollows pretty much. That one video of a robber who dropped his gun behind the counter and the other who brought a sword that was shorter than the clerk's. Having a longer sword doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win. It might be an advantage for you, but it's probably not a level 1 enemy. True. Speaking in video game logic, the bigger the sword the more damage it inflicts, though also a username is a weird coincidence. 2 of my hermit crabs are parsley and sage. Yeah, but not that weird a coincidence if you own like thousands of hermit crabs, all individually named. The first person who cuts you off in traffic when you start driving on your own. That event cues the horn tutorial and you get options for your shout skill tree +2 anger or anxiety depending your character build. I'm running a multi-class build where I get +1 each to anger and anxiety instead of +2 to one or the other. The hall monitor from back in middle school. The parking meter checker for adults. What's a hall monitor? A domesticated lizard. I don't fully understand the comment, but since it has silver this must have meaning that flew over my head. Edit. Feo, I get it now. Monitor is a type of lizard, and that would make a hall monitor a lizard in a hallway, or domesticated in a home. That dude who keeps asking the introvert why he doesn't speak. I have a guy like this at my work. The guy I share an office with is either very introverted or he just doesn't like speaking. Yesterday I was in another guy's office and he asked me about the guy I share an office with. What's with that dude? Do you know he has never once talked to me? Does he talk to you? Well, let's see. The first time he spoke to me this week was Wednesday and that was to ask me a question. He is just a quiet dude. Which is great, it means we get all our work done with no distractions. That's cool. No need to take their silence personal, just let them be. Many people get very uncomfortable with silence. I found I get a lot of unsolicited information when I just don't say anything. That spider all trying to be sneaky and zip across the wall while it thinks I'm not paying attention. I see you in my peripheral vision, you little ducker, and now I sentence you to death for trespassing. It sounds like you are the level 1 boss. No, he's the level 200 spider boss. Yeah, you definitely want to be at least a level 220 spider before you enter the living room area. Kid tries to punch me and take my food, then cried when his hand aches from hitting the bone in my back. Everyone know that if you wanna hurt a man, you need to kick the crotch. The Nutcracker is an intermediate level skill learned by progressing through the playground stage. People who stare at you and make you look away. Pathetic weakling. You are asking for the weakest possible enemy. The one that is usually defeated with one move. If you win the encounter, you become the enemy. I have literally sat for 5 minutes in a gas station parking lot refusing to break eye contact with some old bastard who stared at me when I pulled up. I think that's called love. I think it's called a mannequin. A middle schooler making fun of you for not having 200 plus followers. Nathan, you don't need no followers, friend. Not because you don't deserve them, but because we all die when the sun blows up. Then who's gonna ask how many follows you have? Not me. Sun won't blow up. It'll just incinerate Earth when it expands. The more you know. Edit. Got a lot of replies that talk about what would happen and semantics. I'll clarify and explain here. As for the difference between blow up and expand, I'm reasonably assuming the above comment was referring to supernova as blow up, and not the gradual expansion into the star's next phase. The person's own reply lends credence to this assumption. As for elaborating on the topic, here is what I said in a separate reply. Technically, it'll be our star expanding into its red giant phase. This arises once the primary drivers of the star's nuclear fusion, currently hydrogen into helium, burn out and the star begins to fuse heavier elements, like beryllium, edit, carbon, and oxygen. This produces more energy, and changes the star's color since the star is cooler, causing the star to expand. This will increase the size of the star enough to consume all inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and probably the asteroid belt. Once the star burns through the rest of its elemental fuel, it'll condense into a white dwarf, becoming incredibly small and compact, before eventually dying out altogether and becoming a black dwarf. The other notable possible lifestyle for a star, the one implied by the above comments, is for the star to supernova, blow up, and form a black hole from its core. There is a very specific mass required for this to occur, which is known as the Chandrasekhar limit. This is how much gravitational pull is required to overcome the forces of Pauli's exclusion principle, which relates how atoms, edit, electrons, refuse to be in the same place or have the same polarity or spin, which is about 1.4 masses of the sun. Since our little yellow star isn't quite there, it'll burn out and die before ever exploding or becoming a black hole. DM me if you want to talk science fun times. Edit. With my 2.7k upvotes I'm now a level 50 boss. Edit 3. To those of you saying the sun is constantly imploding, I beg to differ. The sun is predominantly powered by nuclear fusion as outlined above, and, although energy is released, fusion is more like implosion than explosion.